Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the PSGL YouTube channel. It is the turn of the F7 League to take centre stage tonight for round 7 around the Autodrome Nazionale Monza. My name is Jake, and I hope you're all having a fantastic evening, and I'm sure we're in for another superb race in the F7 tier tonight. Just to recap quickly on the last race, unfortunately I wasn't able to commentate that, so there was unfortunately no stream, so just to recap very quickly. The last race at Zandvoort saw Jonas take the win, with Vapor King taking second, making it consecutive podiums for the Haas driver. However, he's not actually racing tonight, so he won't be able to make that 3 in a row, while Lars got his first podium of the season in third. And just to quickly recap, the rest of the points were completed by Powdy, Rowan, Hulkenberger, Tim Mats, Corboy, Game Freaker, and Patuka, who also grabbed the extra point for the fastest lap. At the moment, the effective championship leader is Jonas. The only reason I say effective championship leader is because technically Larkin, who has since been promoted to F5, is still technically in the lead, but Jonas is the effective leader, if you like, on 42 points. Got Powdy then 8 points behind on 34. We got Tim Mats on 33, and AMS and Hulk tied for 4th, but they are 19 points behind Jonas, so got a little way to make up there. And meanwhile, in the Constructors, and this is mostly down to the work from Larkin and Leon, who have been promoted to F5, but Racing Points currently hold a 5-point lead over Mercedes, with Williams starting to make good gains in 3rd place. In terms of our location for tonight's round of the championship, we are of course at the Autodrome Nazionale Monza. This classic venue has hosted every Italian Grand Prix in F1 history, at the exception of 1980. Labelled as the Temple of Speed, this track mainly consists of long straights with heavy braking zones into chicanes. It'll be a 27 lap race that we're having tonight around this 3.6 mile track, with just the 11 corners to negotiate. 2 DRS zones as ever to aid overtaking, the first down the main straight, with the other starting on the exit of a second Lesmo and runs all the way down to the famous Ascari chicane. The key to a good result here, of course, will be a low downforce setup and taking full advantage of the slipstream effect. And with that in mind, we should have a fantastic race ahead of us. So let's quickly then see how drivers are going to get on their first laps of this track. We've got a dry qualifying session ahead of us here. Let's see who is about to start a lap. I've already got Hulkenberger on a lap, so we'll follow him round then on his opening lap time as he breaks down into turn 1. Got a bit of traffic ahead of him. I don't know if that's cars just come out of the pits, and I believe he's actually on a flying lap already, so that shouldn't actually interrupt Hulkenberger too much. And in fact, he had a very poor run, I think, out the first chicane, which won't have helped him, but I'm sure he'll continue with his lap just to see what it can provide him. Very tidy indeed through a chicane, and we just actually got the spinner there. One of the Alpha Tauris just up ahead had a spin. I believe that might have been a Shidogaru, but could easily be Rowan as well. But Hulkenberger won't mind that, he'll just continue on his way. Of course, Stefan, well, Stefan I think has had a crash somewhere on the exit of the second Lesmo, I believe that is. Is that the second Lesmo? Yeah, the exit of the second Lesmo. And, well, that's Steph's qualifying over as his teammate goes quickest on a 1:19.0. That's the opening sort of benchmark time set. AMS has slotted it into second. First man into the 1:18s is Enosha Ties. This hasn't been a particularly clean lap for Hulkenberg as he goes 4th quickest at the moment. Let's now see what Tim Mats can do as he goes across the line now in the 19.9. Juice F1 has actually now just gone quickest on an 18.7. He's a reserve now for F7, and he gets a chance tonight to show what he can do in the Alfa Romeo. Game Freak has slotted it into 4th. Who else have we got? Danny, who's on a lap, I wonder. Let's see if I can find Danny and see what he's up to. He's had his lap time validated, so that's an early blow for him. Although, of course, I think based on the problems he's had this season with his connection, his main goal is just to be to get to an end of a race. So, yeah, very nice lap time from Juice there. Straight into the 18s, and The early benchmark has definitely been set. Jonas has started to emerge as the sort of main contender for the title, if you like. With some very good results of late, of course, winning last time out. But it's a very competitive league, this one, and there's a number of drivers who I suspect have got plenty to say about that over the coming races. And of course, we've got two very different tracks. We've got obviously tonight we've got Monza, and then next Sunday rather, we are racing at Hanoi for the first time. And of course, that's a very different style of track to this one. So very different tracks here to test the drivers. Of course, slipstreaming is not allowed in PSGL, so you won't see anybody trying to give anybody a tow, and if they are, then they'll be penalised. We've got Patuka, who's just popped it into third for Mercedes. As touched on a bit earlier, they are one of the constructors' contenders, along with Racing Point. And even with Patuka replacing Leon, I still think Mercedes have a very strong partnership going forward for the rest of the season. AMS has already collected a solid amount of points himself. And Patuka, now a full-time driver after starting the season as a reserve, has shown some promising speed throughout this season. Let's follow Powdy, currently second in the championship. By no means the quickest driver on this grid, it's fair to say, but for me, definitely one of the most consistent, and always seems to be there to take advantage of things going on around them to get the best possible result. Through the second Lesmo, these definitely the two trickiest corners on the track for Lesmo corners, because you know you need a decent amount of downforce around them, but of course you don't want to have too much downforce because the rest of the circuit doesn't really require it. It's just about wrestling the car almost through those two corners as best as you can. And we'll see now how Powdy gets on and up to Parabolica. Not as scary as it used to be. They've taken quite a bit of a gravel track that used to meet you on the outside away. So it's not quite the challenge it once was, but it's still a iconic corner as Powdy pops it in 6th place. A good opening gambit there for sure. And let's follow Jonas round on his second flying lap then. All drivers now switching to the soft compound tyre. So it'll be interesting to see. And just quickly as well, just seen in the chat as well that AMS won't actually be able to race for Hanoi, so that's already quite a blow for Mercedes in that respect. A lot of pressure will fall on Patuka to try and bring the points home next week. So we won't be seeing AMS next Sunday. Can Jonas do a slight wiggle of a rear on the exit of the second Lesmo? Will affect his run down to the Ascari chicane, but he's comfortably up on his previous lap time. If he keeps this sort of pace going, he's going to be right there, challenging for pole position. He's got a car in front of him, but I believe he's just warming up for their lap. They shouldn't get in the way. Thankfully they're too far ahead. And now, just pound the power as early as possible up to the line. This should be good enough for pole, I suspect. Yes, it is. A 118.6. Takes pole by a 10th at the moment. Very nice effort indeed. And, oh, I wonder if Benocia Tyres had a mistake on the exit of Ascari, because they were improving quite significantly, but looks like they just recovered from an off, unfortunately, so that won't do much for them as Hulk improves to 8th place just behind his teammate. Danny has now gone 5th just in front of Corboy. So many drivers now getting into the 118s, and you would expect around here it's going to be a very close grid indeed. We will now look at Rowan, who was, well, I think I might, no, that's something wrong with the car. I think he might run out of fuel or something, but yeah, that's not going to be an improvement to the lap. I'll quickly go forward to that because Oh, and now we're going to follow Tim Matz right up to the exit of Ascari there. Went as wide as he probably could have got away with. He's improving on his previous attempt. Round Parabolica runs slightly wide there. Didn't pick up the power perhaps as early as he would have liked. And he improves only to 12 for 19.4. For someone who's significantly shown good pace throughout the season, this doesn't look like he's at one with this track at the moment. Still 8/10 off the pole sitting pace. We've got anybody on a lap, I wonder. I think Patuka invalidated, so that won't be an improvement for them. Let's follow Juice around on their debut. Set a very, very good opening lap time, and looks like they're on another lap here. Takes the shortest run to the line, and then a 1:18.2 as AMS also popped it in to the mid-18s to go second quickest. But another stellar lap there by Juice, and takes a 3/10 of a second advantage at the top, in front of AMS, who I have to say has done an excellent lap as well to pop it onto the front row. Patuka going for another lap, I suspect he is. So we'll follow Patuka around. AMS won't be allowed to give him a tow and doesn't do so. Stays well off the racing line. Patuka slightly up in sector 1. This is probably the key sector of the lap where most time can be won and lost. It's very smooth through the first Lesmo, and then important now to get on the power as early as possible. You do not want to dip a wheel in the gravel, because once that happens you pretty much lose all control of the car. And Patuka is up, but it's very marginally. Oh, a bit wide there on exit. Got away with it though. Competitive showing from Mercedes thus far in quali. Is Patuka going to be able to find enough around Parabolica to register a significant improvement? We're going to find out here. Patuka up to the line. Does improve, and it is just marginally enough to pop him up ahead of Inertia Tyres up into 4th place. So it was worth completing the lap for that at least. Proudies looks like he's just been wide at the exit of the second chicane, because there was a bit of gravel and dirt on those tyres there, and it looks like he's backed off as a result. So there won't be any improvement there. What's Inertia Tyres up to? Looks like they are on a lap, so we'll follow this one round. Yeah, 3/10 up. That's a very, very nice middle sector indeed. And again, very nice for Ascari, so I suspect this will move Inertia Tyres very much up to the sharp end. Brakes very late for Parabolica's got to try and get the power down as early as possible. Inertia Tyres is currently 5th, but this is definitely going to move him up. It moves him up into 2nd, a 1:18.4. Very, very nice effort indeed. Provisionally on the front row. Let's follow Ivanchu round, who has yet to complete a flying lap and is about to begin one in the Red Bull. So let's follow this lap round and see how they get on. Brakes nicely into the opening chicane. He's got a car ahead. That's Ashida Gow's AlphaTauri, who undoubtedly will just move to the side, and does indeed. Curva Grande, not really a corner, not a corner you even notices there. Just about picking a line of least resistance now through the second chicane. Picks their spot nicely. Again, a lot of laps around here are looking pretty solid at the moment. Looks like they picked up a bit of understeer there for the middle of the second Lesmo. But that's not a bad second sector. I don't think it's going to be up there, and in fact they've cut the corner too much at Ascari, and that is their lap time over. Jonas has invalidated their lap and will not be improving. What's Danny up to? Again, they're not up to anything at the moment. Just trying to see if we've got anyone on a lap at the moment. Tim Mats has just started a lap. Currently down in 12th. We'll be hoping for a lot better than that. Not the cleanest run there through chicane, but important thing they stayed on the black stuff. And through a first Lesmo now. Oh, too much understeer there, picked up mid-corner. Had to wait to get on the throttle. And that will cost them undoubtedly. Yeah, they're improving, but it looks to me like there's just a bit too much understeer in that car at the moment. Something not quite right on the setup, I suspect. And that ultimately is costing them dearly. Again, not quite able to keep it within the lines as much as they would like. Yeah, stays 12th. Slight improvement, but I have to say that car doesn't look the nicest to handle at the moment. Oh, but it looks a damn sight better to handle than Ishida Garu, whose qualified session ends in spectacular style. At the exit of the Ascari chicane, they are into the wall. That was an almighty collision. And the best they will start is P9, because they ain't going to be improving anymore. Tucker has had his lap time invalidated. See what Danny's up to. A lot of traffic out there, but Danny's comfortably up on their previous lap time at the moment. That's just within the limits. Oh! Oof. Danny desperately trying to stay in control of the car. Has he kept on the throttle? Because he may just have got away with that through sheer bravery, if nothing else. Fair play to Danny there for holding the car as well as didn't he? And he has actually improved. He's gone 5th, and it makes you wonder what he might have done if it wasn't for that moment. That's a very strong effort. Solid Game Freak around. Of course, the latest update to the F1 game features that fantastic new look to the McLaren Halo. Sure, there's a few drivers who haven't done laps yet. Lars isn't going to do a lap. He's in the pits. I wonder if he may have a qualifying ban. That's what I'm suspecting. But yeah, there's a few drivers. Ivanchu apparently is on an hour lap, so he won't be able to do a lap. Rowan and Shoaib haven't done representative times either. So we're now going to see that these are the final laps. I think Kenosha Ties has had a crash somewhere. Game Freaker was 8th, improves to 6th with 18.8. What's AMS up to? Got more people coming across the line. Powdy and Tim Mats don't improve. Got, I believe that's Juice coming up to the line, and he doesn't improve. He stays quickest, but doesn't improve his lap time. What's AMS up to? He was 4th. He stays 4th. Jonas is probably the only one now, I suspect, who might be able to take pole, but he's invalidated his lap time, so he isn't going to be improving. Callboy doesn't improve either. What's Shoaib up to? He's invalidated his lap time, so he won't be doing anything either. So I believe that's our grid. No one else looks like they can improve, so it's Juice, who's on pole in his debut F7 race. Jonas is going to be on the front row alongside him in 2nd, and Oshitai is 3rd. We've got AMS in 4th, Danny is 5th, Game Freak is 6th, Patuka 7th, Callboy 8th, Ishida Garu 9th, and we've got Hulkenberger completing the top 10. Those outside the top 10, Powdy, Tim Mats, Rowan, Shoaib, Ivanchu, Stefan, Lars will have a free choice of tyres at the start of the race. great effort from Juice on his debut, and Jonis as well, who will be fully aware now that he is a championship contender. And it doesn't seem like the pressure's getting to him as of yet. Of course, we still have a long, long way to go in this season yet. We're, you know, we're only at half distance of a championship. We've still got many tracks to go to. Danny saying that he's happy with 5th, considering he hasn't done any practice, and yeah, he did almost dive out at the exit of the Ascari chicane. The fact he managed to improve on that lap is incredible in itself. So massive fair play to his car control on that one. Yeah, a couple of interesting names up there. I'm interested to see what the likes of Inertia Tyres AMS can do. Juice obviously leading them away in his first F7 race. Shoaib did his fastest lap on mediums, but of course that won't matter now. Ivanchu looked quite quick, but just couldn't get a clean lap in. AMS also believing he had a front row time in there. He was very, very close, less than a tenth of a second off being on the front row. But nothing is won and lost yet, and we all know the infamous turn 1 of Monza can prove problematic on lap 1. Oh no, and I honestly, I have so much sympathy for Danny. He's lost connection again, and if I'm right in saying, I believe that's his race over. That's a real shame. He's just not getting any luck at the moment, and after his qualifying performance, he would have been really a driver to watch out for, from the fact he was 5th with what obviously wasn't a perfectly clean lap. So that's a real shame. We definitely missed out in the race there, not having him here. And of course, it's a big blow for Haas, who now don't have any representation in this race. So drivers get underway now for the formation lap. Let's have a look to see what tyres those outside the top 10 are going with. So the majority are still going with soft tyres. Tim, Mats, Rowan, Ivanchu and Steph have all gone for the softs. We've just got a few exceptions to that. Powdy and Shoaib have gone for the mediums, and Lars, interestingly, has gone for the hards. So we'll just see how that one plays out over the course of the next 27 laps. But yeah, I believe that's Danny's race over, unfortunately. Hopefully better luck at Hanoi next week. Make their way around this outlap now. I don't know if Juice almost lost concentration there, drove off, but easily done. Better to do it on the outlap, I suppose. And these drivers will know you know, you can't win the race on lap 1. You can only lose it, and hopefully they take that into account when they choose their braking spot for the opening chicane. Jonis will be targeting to get into P1 on a long run down to turn 1, and if possible you want as leader to try and get that 1 second gap by the end of lap 3, because you know, once you get away from the slipstream of cars behind you, it's very easy to pull away around here. Just such is the nature of this circuit. So drivers making their way now to line up on the grid. Round 7 of the F7 League is nearly upon us. Jonis won last time out at Zandvoort. Can he make it consecutive wins here tonight? He looks to further stamp his championship credentials. Just waiting now on the final few cars to line up. Right, when the lights finish illuminating Let battle commence here at Monza. It's a fairly good start from Juice. Looks like he's actually covered off for Williams quite early on. In fact, if anything, Jonas has lost second place to Inoshi Ties down into turn 1. Juice keeps the lead, Inoshi Ties is in second. Jonas is in third, and there's further battling going on behind. Patuka looks like he's slotted into fourth. Looks like there's some battling going on further down. Let's see if we can pick that up. AMS has had a tricky start from fourth. He's already lost places to his teammate, and he needs to be very careful here. The last thing them two Mercedes want is a collision, as AMS slots into fifth, and we've got cars. Oh, someone got pushed off in the background there. I believe that was maybe a Shidogaru Cowboy as well. We've got a yellow flag in sector 2. I think Cowboy's in real trouble there at the back of the field. Yeah, he's got damage on that front wing. That's not what he would have wanted. The top three have absolutely made a run for it at the start. Juice leads Inoshi Ties, who got the jump on the Williams at the start. Jonas down into third place. So not the start that he would have wanted. But in fact, he's got a very good exit out of the Ascari. He's going to be troubling the racing point. Down into the Parabolica. He's going to go right round the outside. This will be a brave move if he can make it stick. Inoshi Ties gives him the room. And I think Jonas, well, they're still alongside each other now, going down the main straight. Of course, DRS is not in operation until we get to lap 3. Jonas is for some reason the ghosted there. I think that's just a glitch. But Inoshi Ties has got the inside line into the opening chicane and has kept hold of second place for now. As I think that's the two Mercedes go for it in the battle for P4. That's AMS and Patuka very much in a scrap here. AMS keeping hold of that fourth place for now. We've got a few cars in the pits who have obviously collected damage on that one. That's Lars and Steph. Juice has got the ideal start to this race, and he can now try and pull that 1 second gap out in front. That's exactly the start he would have wanted, and the squabbling behind him will only help. And in fact, if anything, the squabbling behind is allowing the two Mercedes to close in. We've got Game Freaker, who's found his way up to 6th place as well, so he's had an excellent start too. Of course, we're just waiting for the timing screens to sort themselves out. I think we've got Rowan currently up in 7th, Powdy's in 8th, Tim Mats is in 9th. That's also an excellent start from Powdy on those medium compound tyres, so that's really, really worked out for him. And as we got a problem here, Juice has got... No, just the timing screens, my apologies. Juice still leads the way. Oh, does he? No, I think Juice has had a problem. No, Juice has dropped down, so I don't know if he had an issue coming out of Parabolica, but Juice has actually now dropped down to 6th place. I've no idea what's happened there. He might get 5th place back, because Game Freakers ran slightly wide coming out of turn 2, as we saw Vanchu there taking to the runoff area around the chicane, so he must have had an issue there too. But Juice has dropped all the way down to 5th place. I don't know what happened there. I don't think there was anyone near him. So it must have just been a mistake on his own accord. Maybe out of Ascari, perhaps. But that's really cost Juice after the excellent start he had. He's down to 5th place now. And that now allows Inoshi Ties and Jonas to battle away for the lead. Not too sure what happened to Juice in all honesty. I don't think he would be in contact with anyone because he had a decent enough margin to the racing point behind him. It must have just been a mistake. As at corners, we've got Patuka. Has he gone into the wall? He went way off to the left-hand side. If he's managed to avoid the wall, he's done an excellent job, but I'm not sure if he has. As the yellow flag in sector 2, I think Lars has had a problem now. But yeah, that's another one there struggling on the exit of a Parabolica. Or the Ascari chicane, rather, should I say. And Patuka has dropped behind the AlphaTauri of Rowan. He hasn't got damage, so he can now try and attack Rowan down into the first corner. He's going to lock up. He gives the AlphaTauri the room. Does the AlphaTauri give him the room back? Sort of. But Rowan gets a better traction out of turn 2 through the Curva Grande and keeps hold of that 6th place. Is he going to have a good enough run to have a go into the second chicane? I don't think so, no. So he holds that position for now. And in fact, we've got a battle now, bad developing. I think Powdy has just been overtaken by Tim Mats Obviously Powdy on the slower tyre at this stage of the race. Tim Mats moves up into 8th place. We've still got a battle raging for the lead of a race, and a battle now raging for 3rd as well, as Juice is all over the back of AMS in his attempt to recover from that mistake. And based on his qualifying pace and his early race pace, you suspect that Juice has got enough pace to try and get to the Mercedes pretty soon. Oh, he's made another mistake. Well, I don't know if it was Parabolica last time, but it definitely was Parabolica this time. Got a massive tank slap on the exit of a corner, and that's really cost him as Jonas looks down the outside of a racing point into turn 1. Oh, and Inosa Ties locks up slightly. There's a bit of wheel barging, but it's all fair enough. And now it's going to be side by side through the Curva Grande. Neither of them want to yield this position. Jonas really wants to get the lead of a race here, but he has to slot in behind. Racing Point just has a little bit more speed going into the corner, and Inosa Ties keeps the lead of a race for now. AMS is just over a second back at the moment. He could do with getting inside that DRS window to defend as much as anything else. And we've actually got Game Freaker quickly approaching as well, who's having a very solid afternoon so far. But Jonas is right on the back of a Racing Point once more. Oh, and Inosa Ties has spun! He nearly... Jonas had to take avoiding action. Oh, and Inosa Ties' good work has been undone by that spin. Inosa Ties drops to 9th, the exit of Ascari proving to be a real problem zone for these drivers here tonight, and it's already caught a few of them out. And Jonas, he obviously didn't realise the car had ghosted, and he nearly lost it trying to avoid a collision. And that's ultimately put AMS right in the back of him as well. So Inosa Ties, another driver that's really lost out there, and Jonas now leads the race. And despite what happened to Juice, he's now less than a second off the lead of a race again. Yeah, no doubt Jonas was petrified. He was about to go straight into Inosa Ties there. But he, in his eagerness to avoid a collision, he nearly lost it on his own accord. Thankfully, the car ghosted. Come down now towards Ascari, the corner where you almost have to keep a watching brief to see what happens this time, because it seems like every lap someone seems to have an issue around it. Let's see about this time. Oh, and it actually was AMS this time who struggled around it, and that's going to allow Juice a perfect run up to Parabolica as he tries to reclaim 2nd place. And he's got the inside line. He's going to allow AMS the space, and they're going to continue going side by side throughout the straight. It'll be very interesting to see now who has DRS. It is the Alfa Romeo. But I think, no, they both have DRS, of course, because they're within a second of a race leader. So that means they're going to go side by side all the way down this straight. AMS tries to keep the position and does so. Later on the brakes, braver on the brakes, and ultimately had the better line come the exit of the corner. And AMS keeps hold of that 2nd place as the battle continues to rage behind, as Rowan and Patuka doing very... Oh, and Rowan's into the wall! Oh, there's shades of Vettel running off the road there around the exit of the Curva Grande, but this time it didn't end without a collision, and Rowan into the wall with damage, and tough one to see from that angle, but I don't know, it's like Patuka didn't know he was there, or he did know he was there and chose to... it's difficult to tell, but either way, it's ultimately really put pay to Rowan's chances of a good result here. And he will have to go into the pits to get that damage fixed, no doubt about it. Well, I don't know what kind of lap AMS has had, but I'm guessing it's not a good lap, because he's lost a lot of time, as we've got a yellow flag in sector 3. What's Rowan? Is that for Rowan? Something's gone off there. AMS pits. So AMS makes a stop at the end of lap 7. And what tyres does AMS go on to? He goes on to medium compound tyres. So it's an early stop for him. I wonder if he might have had damage potentially, but it'll be interesting to see how that goes. We've also got Rowan, of course, in the pits to repair his damage. And after that initial craziness, we've actually got a slight moment of calm here as AMS rejoins in front of Danny's Ghost. But Jonis now has a 1.5 second lead over Juice, who has now got some clear air and can try and set about closing the car back in. What have we got happening there? Oh, that's just Lars, I believe. That's Ishida Garu, who's a lap down at the moment, who's just, I think, unlapping himself. I think that's what that was all about. Of course, he ghosts anyway, so that's not an issue for the Alfa Romeo. And I think the one person, really, who has taken advantage of all this, if we look at positions gained, I mean, Tim Mats to an extent, who didn't look like he was overly comfortable in qualifying, but I say Game Freaker too. He didn't have the best of starts on lap 1, but he's just made his way quite quietly through the chaos and is now up into a podium position. So things working out very well so far for Game Freaker. And Tim Mats now right in the back of Patuka, so whatever setup wasn't working out for Tim Mats during qualifying is definitely working out significantly better in race trim. Looks like he genuinely has some pace at the moment. As Anosha Tyres makes his opening stop of the race. That spin exit of Ascari really costing Anosha Tyres the chance of an excellent result here. Only a safety car from here, I think, could rescue those hopes. Tim Mats do against Patuka here down this straight. Is he going to be close enough for a go into Ascari? I don't think so, not on this occasion. It's all about just trying to set it up and stay as close to the car in front as possible. Oh, and Patuka has gone round and gone into the wall. He's made slight contact with the wall. I don't know if he got damage off of that. There was a slight brushing against the wall. It should be on the... I think he's got away with it, you know, and that's the second time he's brushed against the wall as Jonis pits from the lead of a race. So he deciding to get rid of those softs after 9 laps. And Patuka pits as well. But many drivers struggling at the exit of Ascari, and it's quite costly if you lose it there. You do very well to avoid damage. Jonis rejoins on hard tyres. He ain't planning to stop again, but he has lost a position to AMS, who of course did a massive undercut. But you do wonder on those medium tyres, is he planning to stop again? Well, that just shows the undercut quite powerful around this circuit. Jonis was running in clear air, but it still wasn't enough for him. And AMS has got that position for the time being. So further down, we've got a battle here for 11th place as Avanchu runs quite, well, not the smoothest through turn 2. And through Curva Grande, this is going to give Steph a really good opportunity to get that 11th place on the Red Bull. I know Tyres is quickly gaining on this scrap, so it's absolutely vital for him that he doesn't get caught up in a scrap like this if he wants to get back into a points playing position later on. And we've got Juice now in the pits, so I'm going to see what tyres Juice goes as far as Game Freaker also makes his stop. Interesting to see what tyres they go for, and of course where they rejoin out on the circuit. Goes for the medium compound tyre, so a bit of variance here between Juice and Jonis. And it will be interesting to see who it benefits the most. As expected, he's going to rejoin behind both of them. Already Jonis though is right in the back of AMS, despite having in theory tyres that should take a little longer to get up to temperature. So real pace difference there. We've got a yellow flag in set 2 and Tim is out! Tim is out of this race. We're going to try and go on board to see if we can catch where that happened. Just trying to see on the exit. Oh, it's on the exit of the second chicane. Rowan's also out too, but Well, Tim Matz's race has come to an end against the wall. And that's a virtual safety car that's been put out, not a full safety car. I wonder if Powdy, under the VSC, will consider pitting for hard tyres. It basically would help at the moment to get that pit stop out of the way. What's Powdy going to do? No, Powdy continues to deciding against it. I mean, we've gone back to green now anyway. We've got another yellow flag in sector 1, but I think that's cleared now as well. We've got Jonis right on the back of AMS. And Juice just a second behind. These are the three at the moment, you imagine, barring incidents of course, who would be favourites to stand on the podium at the moment. And it's all just falling into place for the Williams driver at the moment. Results going their way. Other championship contenders, because Tim, let's not forget, Tim is in third in the championship right now. So things fall into place for Jonis at the moment. His results going his way, and other people's results not going so well. He'll want to clear AMS quickly if he possibly can. But we all know AMS, he's a battler, he's a very good defender, he will not give it up easily, and in fact, if anything, a poor exit for Jonis there has actually put him under threat, more so from Juice behind, so he's got to be wary of that threat as well. Of course, from his position, he knows this is Juice's first race. He doesn't need to get involved in a scrap with the Alfa Romeo, so to speak, but that racing instinct could very well take over in this position. It depends how he's thinking. Is he thinking of a championship, or is he just thinking about winning the race? And oh, he's pitting. As Jonis must have collected some more damage, so he must have gone against the wall, and Jonis is back in the pits again. Oh, that's a massive blow for him. So I wonder why he was struggling on some exits. He must have collected some damage, and that's a bitter blow for the championship leader. I was just saying how things looked like they were falling into place for him, but well, I might have put the curse on that for him there, because he's back in the pits onto medium tyres, and it's going to just be a recovery drive from here on in, down to 12. I think the minor points is probably the best he can hope for now. Oh, and Inosha Tyres has struggled down the exit of the corner, must have been trying to make an overtake stick on Steph, I believe, and that hasn't worked out, as Callboy now looks to try and get Ivanchu. Oh, and they're alongside each other. Callboy, is he going to go for it? Around the outside, he's thinking of it, but there's no room there. He might try and get a better exit down to the first Lesmo, but again, just runs out of space. And now we've got Juice here, who, despite what happened at the start, when he fell from first to fifth, is looking in a very strong position here to take the win right now, because I don't think AMS is going to be able to do much to defend this. Look how close he is. Well, this is pretty indefensible, I think. Juice around the outside. AMS might try and go late on the brakes, but no, it's just not worth battling. Juice is clearly quicker at this stage of the race and makes the move stick up into third place. They've dropped Game Freaker quite significantly. Game Freaker's got a 5-second gap to them now, so effectively AMS now can start to run his own race, and of course if he can stick in the DRS of the Alfa Romeo, can almost drag him along as well, so that's a consideration for him too. Let's go back with this frantic battle that's happening over P8. Ivanchu's now got past Steph for that position, but Callboy and Inosha Tyres are right there as well, and you imagine it won't be long at this rate until Jonis joins that queue of cars. Goldenstale fairly stable for this part of the track. Meanwhile, Juice is about to move up into second. Shoaib on a very different strategy, doesn't really put up a fight as you would really expect him to. Imagine it won't be too long now before Shoaib and Powdy are thinking about making a pit stop, probably in the next couple of laps, as Juice shows how much pace he's got by doing the fastest lap of the race on a 1:21.3, which is just a really strong pace. And you imagine as well now it's up to AMS now to make that move stick on Shoaib too. You can see he's in overtake. He's going to have massive overspeed. Ooh! It's almost like he didn't really know what side to go there. He's going to try and go around the outside of Shoaib, and well, this will be frustrating AMS, because you almost feel like, well, hang on here. You didn't really defend against Juice, so why are you putting up such a fight against me? This is really costing him time, though. If he does want to stick behind, Juice is really costing him here. Shoaib's going defensive again, so he doesn't want to make this move easy for him, but he's got no choice there. AMS makes the move stick into Ascari. Just had too much speed with the DRS, the overtake, and the slipstream all combined. And AMS moves up into what is third at the moment, but will technically be second once Powdy makes his stop, which he's actually doing right now. So we'll see how that goes for Powdy. He can take on soft tyres now to the end of a race. So it'll be interesting where Powdy rejoins, and I think he'll be a threat now to the end of the race. It's another very typical Powdy race, in that we haven't really seen much of him, but he's quietly gone about his work, and I think he's actually going to be in a very strong position come the end of this race as a result of it. He's rejoining in some nice clear air in 6th place on new soft tyres. He's going to be absolutely charging now. I think Powdy's definitely going to be one to look out for in the latter stages of this race, no question about it. I think Juice has got to be careful of his penalties, and I say that because he has just picked up one there. Of course, penalties can make all the difference come the end of a race, as Corboy and Steph are going side by side here for P9. Around the Curva Grande, we've already seen a bit of drama around here already, but it looks like Steph's got the move done before we even get to the exit of it, and Steph is into 9th place. Picks up a bit of dirt there, not as much as Corboy, who is now under threat from Jonas, who really needs to get a move on here. We know that he's got race leading pace, so it's just for him about how many positions he can gain in these latter stages of this race. Yeah, Gaming Alamondo just making the point that Game Freaker's biggest threat for a podium now is Powdy, and I absolutely agree. Powdy's pace on the soft tyres is going to be absolutely key to deciding where that 3rd place goes. It's going to be vital for Powdy's race, really, that he can get clear of that Mercedes as quickly as possible. As Shoaib makes his stop, and Ishida Garu is now out of the race as well. I think that might have been a crash, and we've got a safety car. We've got a safety car, and I tell you what, that plays brilliantly into Powdy's hands. He could not have asked for that anymore, because that is absolutely perfect for him. He can now stay on the soft tyres, and now it's going to be up to the cars in front of him. Do they pit and lose track position, or do they stay out and try and cling on to what they have? It's a real... Surely Patuka's going to pit. I imagine AMS will as well. I'd be shocked actually if any of the top 4 don't pit, and that's potentially going to put Powdy into the lead of this race. So Powdy and Shoaib are actually in fantastic positions now due to running the alternative strategy. You cannot rule Powdy and Shoaib out of getting a podium here. And of course those outside the top 10 of most of them have pitted. We've got Steph, Corboy and Lars all in the pits. They've got nothing to lose, as you'd expect. Juice and AMS are pitting. Game Freaker is not. So Game Freaker's decided he would rather have track position, but he will have 6 lap old mediums. So this is going to be a very intriguing end to this race. Powdy moves up into 2nd place. Game Freak has decided he wants a track position. He will have a lot of defending to do in the latter stages of this race. This is a big gamble from Game Freaker, and it'll be tough to see if it'll pay off or not. Jonas has also elected not to pit. He's the only other one that has, and he's moved up to 5th as a result. But you've got Powdy in 2nd and Shoaib 4th. They are absolutely the biggest beneficiaries of the timing of this safety car. And getting traction out of Parabolica is going to be key, and Game Freak is going to really struggle with that. You have a feeling he's going to be a sitting duck. All of a sudden, Powdy and Shoaib are looking at getting a massive haul of points. Well, Game Freak has made his choice now. He can't. It's kind of almost too late to backtrack now. He's sort of made his bed. He's going to have to stick it out on those tyres now, or risk losing a lot of track position. Some suggestions that Ishida Gary may well have crashed it on purpose. I hope that's not the case, and if it is, of course, I'm sure he will be dealt with by the stewards. Well, there's no question about it, this safety car has absolutely flipped this race upside down. And those that have stayed out, Game Freaker and Jonas, are going to have it all to do when the safety car comes in. Right now, I think it's really tough to say who's going to be on the podium. I think you have to say the favourites are Powdy, Juice and Shoaib, just purely off the fact of where they are on track and the tyres that they're on. Obviously AMS and Patuka, the two Mercedes, will have to clear Jonas quite quickly. Shoaib's left quite a gap in front of him. Hopefully he'll be closing that up. I wonder, will the safety car be coming in on this lap, I wonder? Looks like we're going to have another lap under the safety car. We're still waiting on Lars, who is yet just about to catch up to the pack. So the safety car will stay out for one more lap, and then we'll have a 7-lap sprint to the flag for these drivers. All the while the tension will be building, particularly for Game Freaker, who knows he'd have to drive a race of his life in these last 7 laps if he wants to hold on to this win. And I'm looking forward to interviewing the podium finishers afterwards, getting their feedback on this race, because depending who's up there on the podium, it could be very contrasting emotions. This safety car restart's going to be key for Game Freaker here. He absolutely cannot afford to give Powdy a chance to get past straight away, and he'll know that. And of course, what's also key under this safety car as well is to just not run into the back of anybody. It's very easy to do while you're busy warming up your tyres and making sure you get everything up to temperature. But you run into the back of somebody, you get a penalty or you get damage, it's absolutely costly for your race. It's highly unlikely we are going to get another safety car now, so you won't have that saving grace either. Yep, the safety car, as expected, is coming in this lap, and now it'll be up to Game Freaker to bunch the cars up and choose what point he thinks it's best to go. Hopefully we won't see anything like what we saw at Mugello. last week, where the safety car light went off too late, and ultimately that meant everyone had to bunch up at far too late of a point, and that just led to carnage. Hopefully we won't see anything like that, and Game Freaker, I think, is potentially... Oh, he's going to have to wait, though. Safety car's not quite in yet, so he's gone for it. He's actually... That's absolutely perfect from Game Freaker. He's done that restart absolutely impeccably. I don't think he could have timed that much better if he tried. Cowboy's already dropped down, so he must have had an issue, and already we've got here Shoib, who's under pressure. Shoib's had a poor restart, and Jonas is looking down the inside of him. Cowboy's out the race. So we've got another yellow flag there. Cowboy must have had an issue somewhere. I think he's actually gone into the pits and retired, so he may well have had damage on that safety car restart. But Game Freaker leads. Harry second, Juice in third. Shoib managed to hold off Williams' car behind him there, which is crucial for his race, in fourth. But Game Freaker's actually had a superb restart here, and he couldn't have asked for much more, but he needs to hope that Juice does not get past Powdy too quickly, because I suspect Juice will close him down a lot quicker. What is helping Game Freaker is the Shoib train that's kind of developing here, as AMS looks down the inside of Jonas. They're going to go side by side through the Ascari chicane. This is brave stuff. Oh, and somehow they managed to keep it going, but now Patuka is going to try and make it 3 wide, going down to the Parabolica. He slots into the slipstream behind his teammate. Looks like AMS has got the higher ground. Jonas is going to try and brake later, but surely AMS will have more traction on those soft tyres. He doesn't actually. Johnny's got an excellent exit there. So that's nothing, as Juice has got past Powdy. I don't know where to look here at the moment. We've got these three going at it. They're going to go 3 wide, are they? Again, Patuka trying to get involved, but not quite close enough. Jonas has actually got the position back, and now AMS is under threat from his own teammate, and the two Mercs collide. But they thankfully get away with it, and in fact it's Patuka who loses a spot to Ivanchu, who slots himself in between them. Incredible stuff there. Toto Wolff will not be happy seeing that. And in fact now Steph is now going to try and go around the outside of Patuka. Has he made the move stick? Has he? We've got a yellow flag set to Ivanchu's round. So I'm not sure what happened there to Ivanchu. We're going to try and pick that up. Yeah, Ivanchu's got off into the wall, got damage, and that's the end of their race, I'm afraid. We saw they were going side by side, and it ultimately hasn't ended well for him. Look at Juice now. He's got past Powdy, which unfortunately we didn't manage to see. But he's straight onto the back of Game Freaker, and I can't see any way that the McLaren's going to be able to hold Juice back here. He has been the class act, it has to be said, this evening, Juice. And I don't think anyone would knock him if he went on to win this race. He's got a fantastic run onto the pit straight. He's going to pull out from the slipstream here. There's not even DRS yet, but he doesn't need it. He's going to absolutely have this move under braking, I suspect. Juice has got the move done and takes the lead of a race, and I find it hard pressed to suggest anyone's going to stop him from here on in. It's now up to Powdy now. He has to try and follow Juice through, because he should be quicker than Game Freaker. Ivanchu is out the race as well. He's also retired in the pits. We're now down to 11 drivers, of course, with Danny's Ghost at the back. Shoib's lack of making inroads here is really helping these top 3, particularly Game Freaker. So if Game Freaker, although it's likely you'd say that he loses the position to Powdy, he's still got a very decent chance that he'll keep 3rd place here. And to be fair to him, his pace isn't that bad. He's obviously still getting DRS off the back of Juice, who himself needs to be very careful. That's the 2nd penalty I've seen him get, and that's the 2nd penalty at least. So he's definitely got to be careful with that. We know Powdy's certainly not a driver that tends to pick up many penalties. So Powdy, if he can just stay quite close to Juice here, there's every chance here Powdy could still win this race. Even if it isn't at the checkered flag, so to speak, because AMS does the fastest lappers. They're all getting quite impatient, I think, behind Shoib now. Powdy, we know, is definitely not a driver to get impatient, so he will bide his time. He'll want to try and make a move stick. Pretty sharpish, though. But the two Mercedes' restart has been ruined by the fact they just haven't been able to make any progress against Jonis and Shoaib in front of them. You get the feeling that if AMS and Patuka could have got past those two, they could have really had a good chance of grabbing a podium. We still could, of course. Like I say, penalties can change a lot, but obviously it feels better, I think, always doing it on the racetrack. And you never want it to come down to penalties because it's such an unknown when you get to a checkered flag as to where you're going to be. Howdy's still stuck behind Game Freaker. Juice just has to try and build up as much of a lead as he can and hope it's enough come the end of a race. Howdy's got to start to be careful because Shoaib is starting to catch him. He knows he needs to make a move stick. He's nearly out of ERS. That's another problem he's got. So there's no real way through for him there. Game Freaker locks up under braking, but Powdy just cannot seem to find a way through at the moment. Again, he's just relying on slipstream at the moment. He has to try and save some ERS if he possibly can. He knows Game Freaker will not be an easy person to get past. And Shoaib is now getting up to the back of Powdy, and this is Powdy's problem now. He hasn't got past Game Freaker, and he himself now is going to have to start looking in his mirrors. Juice, meanwhile, has nearly gained a 3-second lead up front as Powdy actually does pick up a penalty. That could be his first, but even so, that could be all important. Come the checkered flag, Juice is leading out to 3 seconds, so he's absolutely gone at the front. He's trying to leg it and create as much of a gap as he can over the next couple of laps. We are now onto the penultimate lap now with Juice, who's just about to start it. And what can Powdy do on this occasion? He hasn't got any ERS to use, and that just means he isn't getting close enough into the braking zone. There's nothing he can do. Oh, wait a minute, this could be his best chance yet though, because Game Freaker's exit out the opening chicane wasn't great. This is Powdy's best opportunity yet, but is he close enough for a move? Is Powdy going to go for it? You get the feeling he kind of needs to, but no, once again, Game Freaker just breaks out a little bit later, positions his car expertly, and there's still no way through as of yet for the Renault driver. And you can just see the train this is creating behind us. Oh, and Inosha Ties is out the race. Inosha Ties is out of the race. And you can see there, I think they lost out the exit of the first Lesmo, and that's no points unfortunately for him. A race that looked so promising at stages has unfortunately ended in disappointment. We have only got 10 drivers left in now, so as long as they all finish the race, they're going to score some points tonight. What can Powdy do now? He knows he has to try and make a move stick. We're on to the final lap of the race. Juice's lead at the front is up to 4 seconds. He's doing an absolutely stellar job in getting that lead up as much as possible. We know he has at least 2 penalties, so he just has to keep pushing and hope that it's enough for him to claim a win on debut. But Powdy just isn't able to do anything about Game Freaker. This is a superb effort from Game Freaker, I have to say. Defensively speaking, he's done an excellent job since the restart, and barring a mistake now, I don't see any way that he's going to lose his second place. It's looking very good for him at the moment. Shoaib as well. In fact, Shoaib again is coming to more pressure from Jonis, who again he's kept his 5th place on the restart. So those on old medium tyres have done an excellent job, not losing too many places. Although having said that, I believe AMS is about to try and get past Jonis into Ascari. He's not close enough. He's not close enough, and he's sort of running out of opportunities now. And in fact, AMS in his attempts to get past is going to come to more prep from his teammate. But we are going to have to go away from that because Juice, coming round the final corner, he's absolutely pushing it for all he's got, and he's picked up another penalty. That could be absolutely critical. He takes the win for now. but will he lose it? Game Freaker goes across the line and Game Freaker takes the win. Jonis up to second. We've got Powdy who's in third. Shoib in fourth. AMS fifth. Juice slips down to sixth because of his penalties. Patuka seventh. I think Steph might have got eighth. Lars ninth, and I think Hulk took 10th. But it's Game Freaker who, despite being on those old medium tyres, takes an absolutely superb win. That's absolutely brilliant. Fair play to Game Freaker there. It didn't look like that was going to be possible for him, but he managed it. I have to say, there's no doubt who my driver of the day is going to. I thought Game Freaker had made a terrible strategy call to stay out on mediums, but well, he's a race winner. That's why he's driving and I'm here in the commentary box. You know, he knows what he's doing. I won't doubt him in future. That's an absolutely superb effort. Jonis, thanks to keeping it clean and again on those medium tyres, he does a great job as well to take second. And Powdy takes another excellent podium as well. And fair play to Game Freaker and Jonis, who kept it clean enough to not collect any penalties. And that was very important in deciding the result at the end of the day. See, AMS 5th with Juice had 12 seconds worth of penalties. Without that last penalty, they would have got 5th. Patuka 7th, Lars 8th, Hulk actually gets 9th, and Steph takes 10th place. What a breathless end to the Italian Grand Prix here tonight. We're going to try and hopefully get a word with some of the podium finishers. Especially Game Freaker, who I imagine right now is absolutely elated. So if bear with me just one moment, I'll try and get the podium finishers in the stream. Alright, so here we go then. So hopefully we can get some of the podium finishers in to have a word with them after that race. We've got Jonis and Powdy here. Just make sure that your voices are set to always share.
Yeah, just doing it now.
Thank you. I'll give it just a few more seconds, see if Game Freak is here. If not, then we'll get started. Oh, and of course Game Freak said he wouldn't be able to. Right, yeah, remember now that. Remember that now. So I'll go to you, Jonis, then. Congratulations on the second place. Some of those thoughts after the race, because it was quite a hectic one for yourself.
Yeah, it was a hectic one for sure, and I was lucky to have a safety car to go out with not too many laps left, and I could catch up to the front guys and challenge for the podium. I felt like a really unlucky loss of front wing when I bumped into the back of AMS. So yeah, I was happy to get to the chance to fight with them again.
And were you surprised that you managed to hold position on those medium tyres, bearing in mind that everyone around you was on softs?
I wasn't really thinking about it. I knew that I had good pace because Monza is one of my best tracks, so I didn't really think I would struggle for that. And then the car in front of me got a really bad restart, and that put me under pressure from AMS behind me, and the guys ahead got like an advantage, so it put me in a difficult position. But yes, we catched up towards the end. That was the most important part.
And obviously you'd known full well that you had no penalties. Did you know that that was going to be really important come the end of a race?
Yeah, it's always crucial around Monza to keep the car inside the track. I had 2 warnings and I knew about it, so I drove with a bit of a safety margin. So it wasn't really challenging the track limits at a couple of laps towards the end, because I knew that the guys around me had penalties, and quite happy with how I managed to keep my head cold.
And earlier on we saw you battling with Juice, obviously it being his debut race in F7. Were you thinking of a championship at all when battling with him, obviously knowing that he isn't really fighting you in that respect?
Yeah, I'm not taking unnecessary risk when I'm fighting for a championship. I'm not like putting in stupid moves. I don't think, at least. I hope I'm not. But I just tried to be patient because I knew that as it's his first league race, he's probably nervous, and when you're nervous, you're gonna make those small, silly mistakes and get some penalties. And I knew that just being patient was the formula to beating him. And it showed when he had a little moment out of Parabolica and lost a couple of positions. So I was feeling very good in like midway through the race before my front wing damage.
And looking ahead to next week, obviously you mentioned that Monza is a track you really enjoy. How are your thoughts heading to Hanoi? Obviously a very different kind of circuit to Monza.
I've done a couple of league races around it, and it's not my favorite track, but I'm starting to catch some pace around there, and that's the most important. Just struggling to find the flow of the track with so long stretches and so close to the wall. It's usually a bad combination.
Well, congratulations on your second place tonight, and all the best for next week.
Cheers.
We move on now to Powdy, who took 3rd place. First thing I have to say, that safety car must have been perfect timing for you.
Yeah, it was pretty much perfect. I could have, well, I was happy enough for it to not come out. I would have only got up to 5th, like, but when it came out, I knew I was going to gain a lot of positions. I was surprised Game Freaker stayed out on the mediums. I thought everyone would have boxed. I knew I was going to stay out, like, there was no point me boxing. I'd only boxed like a lap or that before. So when I came out, then I just couldn't get going really quick enough when we restarted. Just couldn't get past Game Freaker then. He was too quick on the straight for me, and followed him round, got a silly warning then with a couple of laps to go. It was costing me a penalty, and I knew then there was no chance of winning it, like, because I knew I wouldn't get 3 seconds ahead of Game Freaker, like, because I was really struggling for setup and performance at Monza. So to get 3rd, I'm delighted with it. So congrats to Jonas and Game Freaker for winning, and to Jonas for 2nd. It's good points. I'm very happy to get 3rd, I can tell you. I would have taken anything. Can't believe I ended up on the podium.
It seems to be, maybe I see it wrong, but it seems like to me anyway that you're a lot more dangerous in the race than you are in qualifying. Is that something you deliberately do?
No, not at all. I just can't get the car going in qualifying. In practice, like, I was doing 18.4s regularly, like popping in mid-18s like all the time. Going to quali then, and it just there's no grip there in multiplayer lobbies. But I practice in multiplayer lobbies, but it seems when they're full, I don't know. Just can't seem to put a lap in qualifying, whatever it is. But yeah, race pace is a lot better. But I've gone to line only since I went to this game, so it's been a bit of a adventure up to this point learning it. So I mean, I hope I get a little bit better as the season goes on. But next week won't be great for me. But after that, it should be. The last few races should be okay.
And obviously now you're technically, I say technically second in the championship because obviously we've still got Larkin hanging around near the top, even though he's now in F5. Is the championship something you're looking at? Obviously you are second at the moment to Jonas, who got second place tonight. Are you considering the championship at all?
Yeah, I think I have to, considering that I'm getting the results, although I don't see the pace really been there. I think Jonas is going to be a bit too quick, to be honest. He seems to be kind of always there as well at the end of the race, is keeping it clean, like, so I think that's staying consistent, getting good consistent points is going to stand him, I think. But like I said, since I'm going line only, like, I expect to get a little bit better as the season goes on, like, but we'll see how it goes. Like I said, next week in Hanoi won't be brilliant for me, but after that the rest of the tracks then I kind of like, so if I can stay in it up to that, I think I'll have a chance in the last few races. Not for wins, like, but I think I can hopefully stay up around regular podiums and, you know, top fives, and we'll see where that takes me.
And based on your expectation for Hanoi, which don't seem particularly high, what are you hoping for there? Points, perhaps?
I'll take a point now. If you give me 10 now, I'd take it. That's not too bad. I just struggled with the braking in the last corner, you know, since I've turned off brake assist, so that's going to take a bit of practice. I had one race there already and it was a disaster, so.
And I guess as someone who I know has been in the top leagues of PSGL before, has it been much of a change in like mental way of looking at it, considering you are perhaps now not in such a big league?
No, not really. I mean, like I said, I turned off the assists, like, so you're always going to lose a bit of pace and start to come back a little bit. But I mean, you can see it up through the leagues. The pace is really strong. Like, even in F8 and F9, like, the lap times there that are quick enough for pole sometimes in our league. And I mean, the gaps between F5 and F7 aren't that big, like, you know, but it's still good racing, like, good clean racing. And once you're getting that, I mean, that's all you can hope for.
Absolutely. Congratulations on the third place tonight, and again, all the best for next week.
Yeah, I'm going to need it.
So again, yeah, well done to all our podium finishers, Game Freaker as well, who unfortunately I know hasn't got a mic for tonight, so can't unfortunately answer any questions.
Yeah, it's a shame.
But yeah, hopefully we'll be able to talk to all podium finishers next week, and it should be a fantastic race, the first ever F7 race at Hanoi next week. Be sure to join us for that. Until then, it's goodbye from me, and I'll catch you on the flip side.